Joe Biden has officially announced that there will be a massive humanitarian aid effort for the people of Gaza. Now, here's what will be happening. There will be sustained efforts in the form of airdrops, essentially a massive air campaign that will be a humanitarian aid mission. Now, this announcement comes at a very critical and crucial moment. For those of you that are not aware, there was a very significant incident where drone footage captured thousands of Palestinians storming humanitarian trucks, trying to get humanitarian aid for themselves and for their families. But unfortunately, there are two conflicting reports. According to the Israeli Defense Forces, there were Palestinians who got hit by trucks, thus you had mass casualties. According to Palestinian sources, you had Israeli Defense Forces that were harming Palestinians. Now, that is an entire different video and story, but I'm just letting you know in context, the world is looking to the United States to take an effort and trying to help with humanitarian efforts over Gaza. So let's go ahead and dig into this and see exactly what's happening and what Joe Biden is saying, John Kirby is saying, and what Israel is saying. Now, straight from Joe Biden, he kept it very brief, but he also kept it a little confusing because what he said was essentially the United States will be performing an airdrop in the next coming days. And the way that he said it essentially meant that there will only be one airdrop, and to a lot of people, everyone is thinking, will that be enough for the people of Gaza? However, John Kirby came in to clear all this up. Direct quote, "We need to do more and the United States will do more." He also says aid flowing to Gaza is nowhere nearly enough. John Kirby stresses that airdrops have become a sustained effort. Again, it will be sustained efforts, but there are no details on how long the sustained efforts will be. But John Kirby did say that the majority of the humanitarian aid being airdropped over Gaza will be in the form of MREs, meals ready to eat. Now, as a former U.S. military member in the U.S. Army, 101st Airborne, I can see this already being a little bit of an issue. Regardless of the fact that some MREs can be terrible, there also is a little bit of an education piece that's going to be needed for the people of Gaza. I mean, the instructions of an MRE are in English, but the other thing is, if you want to use the heating element, you got to understand, you got to put water on it, shake it up. So again, I think there's going to be a little bit of an education piece, but look, at the end of the day, it's going to be food and supplies for the people of Gaza. I'm not trying to nitpick here, but there are also loads of other issues. The other issue is that Israel does know that the United States wants to perform this airdrop, but at the end of the day, it's going to be up to the Israeli troops to ensure that the airdrop is done successfully and does not end up in the hands of the enemies of Israel and the United States. So the problems that Israel is going to have, first and foremost, is coordinate between the United States and Israel where exactly this airdrop is going to happen, but also coordinate on the ground and secure an area off the ground so that people don't get injured when things are falling from the sky. Because look, there is always going to be a risk assessment that there are times the parachutes don't work. So you need to make sure that the territory and area is sealed off. But again, that's going to be a massive, significant challenge because the entire territory of Gaza is already small enough and things are very condensed as it is. So I'm not saying that Israel is annoyed that there will be humanitarian aid efforts, but without a doubt, the way that the United States is performing these humanitarian aid efforts is not the most convenient way of doing things, especially if it's going to be a sustained thing. And my evidence for this is the fact that there is already a mission plan and corridors for how humanitarian aid enters Gaza. But now things have totally changed after all of that footage and the incident happened that was absolutely terrible with all of the Palestinians trying to get the humanitarian aid off the trucks. I've seen some other reports where this could actually lead to the fact that truck drivers will not want to send humanitarian aid into the country, but I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to speculate. Let's stay on topic in the story. Again, there's going to be issues with actually showing and teaching Palestinians how to eat MREs, because even in basic training, soldiers have to learn how to do it, and also trying to perform the mission without anyone getting injured, and trying to get Israeli Defense Forces to communicate to the Palestinians to get out of the way, we're going to seal off the area, this is an airdrop zone, and then sending it off to the Palestinians who are going to eat the MREs and use the MREs. Now, something else I have to add is that the World Health Organization is stating that the people of Gaza are in a very, very near critical famine. So what that means is that it is very important that other countries come together and provide humanitarian aid for the people of Gaza. So again, this comes at a very, very crucial moment in time where the Biden administration, they are feeling a ton of pressure from the opposition and people who do not support this conflict. Whether or not you support this, that is besides the point. I'm just trying to give you both sides of the story, that people who are very anti this conflict are saying that Joe Biden is the worst president ever and he needs to do more to help this conflict out and help the people of Gaza. And one thing you also need to understand is that this is also the perfect time to do this. There are a lot of posts changing out in the Middle East. There are rotations coming in with deployments going in, deployments going out. So right now, everything is fresh in the Middle East or going to become fresh, where this mission makes sense to do it now. We have new boots on the ground. We have pilots who are ready to go. We have a ton of air bases in the region, so we can make this happen. It's just really up to Israel to make sure everything goes smooth and that the conditions are correct over the territories of Gaza. But let's remember, we are in an active war in that territory. So whether or not Biden wants to do this mission, a lot of it has to do with the conditions on the ground and in the air. So again, this is massive news, and this is all we are really left with. I don't want to keep speculating and drag this video out. I want to get the news straight to you so that in the coming days we can actually see some more details and see whether or not this mission is going to work.